Hello! Okay, so today we're talking about another power. We're talking about Ravage. Uh, okay, it is mapped. It's like, wait a minute, did I already screw this off right off the bat? So, okay, so we can see the first two animations. It's your typical lunge thing, but I can't get into the real meat and potatoes until we're at an enemy. So first let's talk about the visual effects, yeah? So, it has your average pounds of visual effects. Where you got like the little puff of smoke where he leaps, and he's got some claw streaks and some distortion, like trails following behind him. And the impact where he lands, where he does the roll, I've always found on the lunge skills to be a little bit too aggressive and vivid. So I changed it up a bit. It's a little more subtle, and the clouds are like thicker, like this way, like the donut bits, like thicker, and they dissipate a little bit quicker. Because I always thought like they're just doing a quick little somersault at the end. Why you got to be so dramatic? So I made that a little more subtle. Another thing I did when I was building this is I used Wolverine's animations visual effects as the base, and I found the distortion. You'll find like the trail behind his claw marks, like alongside his claw marks, are like a sort of distorted wibbly wobbly thing. And they just went on for too long. So once they get into the roll, the wibbly wobbly, like distortion effects stick around and keep tracking him, and then you end up with just a pool of weird wibbly wobbly stuff where he lands. And I didn't think it looked good. It was something that always kind of caught my eye as a little obtrusive. So I cut that down and I shortened it. And instead of having Wolverine's like 3 claw things, what I've set up is I took Sabretooth's. His claw ring like visual effect that has like 4 or 5 claws. I don't know, it's hard to tell, but they turned them blue and I made them fade at the end instead of staying like the same solid vivid color all the way through to help it kind of fade and lead into the roll. Yeah, I don't think there's much else to say about the visual effects. Well, there is something else. I've noticed that like there are skins for Beast that are human. They're not like all blue and stuff, and so like having them as claws can be a little like weird on those ones. So I might turn it into just your normal like just blue trail, like what we saw in one of the past videos where he's got like the blue trails coming off his feet. Something that lasts longer, of course, though. I might do that. I haven't decided yet, so I guess we'll see. But this is a combination of your average pounce and a beatdown from characters like Colossus and Hulk, and everybody's in the way and we're never going to be able to see what it looks like. Go away! So yeah, there it goes, transitions, he does the beatdown, and it feels great, it feels so good. Each impact from his fists is another like individual damage, each one procs damage. And so the damage of the power is divided between the tackle and then the multiple hits. And that's how the takedowns work for Hulk and Colossus. But, of course, it comes from the pounce. So in order to marry these two, like, animations together that come from, like, different things, I had to play with the speed a bit, because pouncing is a lot faster than, like, charge running. So I had to get the beat down to, like, be, a better speed, so that it actually looked like it transitioned properly. And I think it came out really good, going from like the leap into the beatdown. Like, I think it looks awesome. I hope you do too. I played around with the effects that cause the entire world to slow down when you use an extreme, and had everything slow down to like a crawl. And I put that into the code when I was doing it, just so that I could like line up the speed real nice. And I also didn't want the beatdown to be too fast, because then when he stands back up, it might be too jarring if he just pops up real quick, and it doesn't follow the animation. But here, let's talk about these effects when he does the beatdown. See, you have to have the... oh man, see, this one might get a little technical. You have to position the enemy properly within the power style code, otherwise it was set up kind of like Colossus's and... Colossus's? And they weren't lined up like under him properly, so I had to, manipulate the origin. I also made the crack decal when they impact with the ground. I had to make that smaller because this is Beast. He's got a lot of mass. He can absolutely smash you into the floor, but he's not quite as big as Colossus. So I tweaked that a bit. I think I might have played with the poof too. I can't remember. I played with a lot of smoke poofs, so it's hard to say. And than the impacts when he hits them. So what I do when I'm building mods is I take the effects that I think are going to kind of fit in the ballpark, and I just straight up copy paste that stuff into the power style that I'm working on. And then once I find things I'm happy with, I, transfer it all over, change all the names, and then open them up and start putting in what I want, and tweaking what's in there, and just go from there. And I noticed that when I had Colossus's effects in the power style, they weren't coming up. And that was when I realized, like, oh no, it's something else that's referencing this effect, and that's the victim fight style. So, if you, like, some of you that are watching know very well that there's these victim fight styles that are used for enemy animations when they're being interacted with. So, this beatdown right here, where guys like, and whatever, that's controlled by a fight style that needs to be referenced within the power style. Same thing if, like, you use carry guy, like, Colossus can, like, pick up a dude and, swing him around. That all has to do with, they animate according to what's in their victim fight style. So, what I did was I made a new victim fight style with the animations in it just for Beast, named it after Beast, and set it up all for Beast so that he's not referencing Colossus's fight style or anybody else's victim fight styles, which cuts down on the amount of fight styles being loaded when he's used, which is going to be like, Beast by the end of this should be more stable than most of the default characters within the game. Hopefully. So, like the Ravensoft built stuff, some of them are pretty unstable. Looking at you, Venom, and Beast should be in much better form than that. Everything's going to be self-contained and referenced by his own stuff. And, so that's where the impacts come from. They're inside that fight style for, the enemy getting hit. It just spawns the impacts on his head. So I changed the color, shrunk it down a bit because he's not quite as big as Colossus, and made it look like something that, would fit with Beast, basically. And I think this move works really well. Like, you have the pounce, which, like, because Beast, he's agile, but he's also a big, massive muscle that could rip you apart like a chimpanzee. So, yeah, marrying together the, like, fast leap and the momentum with the just brutality of just mercilessly beating a dude into the pavement, I think it really feels like Beast. I'm loving it. I think that people who play it will hopefully feel the same way. Like, I want people to really feel like they're like they just watched the show or read the comics and now they're playing exactly what that Beast is. You know what I mean? So I've been trying very hard to marry that just raw power and agility and force together, and so far I think it's coming together very well. I'm really happy with it. He's got I think I'll actually talk about that a little more once I go into other powers later, but just kind of how his powers synergize. Yeah, oh, and so the damage that it does, I had to kind of see, it's a lot faster than the beatdowns from somebody like Hulk or Colossus, right? So I wasn't sure if it should do quite as much damage, though to be fair, Colossus takedown doesn't do quite as much damage as it should, because it gets to a point where, like, just beating a guy with your striking stat will do more damage faster, but that's because Colossus was made very, very slow. So I think I found a good balance where he's quite a bit faster, delivers that, damage a lot faster. So his actual damage values are slightly less than Colossus's, but he has higher DPS because he's able to deliver that damage a lot faster. And when I start talking about boosts, you'll understand why I can go overboard with that. I had to do a lot of comparing. I ended up scaling it with the damage with instead of with other pounces and other takedowns. I ended up actually scaling it according to your basic, like, starting power, because it's a lot more consistent and characters don't always scale with each other very well. So it actually, the damage came out a lot better by doing it that way. Of course, I had to fudge it a little bit here and there to make it scale properly. For example, the first 3 levels, a lot like Colossus, the physical damage per hit, the same for each one, but it works, trust me. It works. It's the same thing they had to do for Colossus, and I understand why, but yeah, it feels great. I love it. I think you will too, I hope. And yeah, that's called Ravage. Again, I might do some tweaks with the. Oh yeah, and don't worry about the sounds. You know, we'll be able to hear all the sounds when I have it all put together and I do like my final like release like video thing, and we can see it all come together and all the powers and everything just synergize with one another, and it'll have sounds and all that stuff. So that'll come. And yeah, there might be minor effects tweaks, but aside from that, this is pretty much exactly what it's going to be in the final product. So yeah, I think that's all I have to talk about, right? Me? We got this? I think we got this. Yeah, we got this. Okay. Toodles.